Guys, it's Benny. You can call Donald Trump a lot of things, but don't call him a liar. At least he's a man of his word. A month ago, Donald Trump sat down with NBC News and said this about January 6th defendants. I will be acting very, very quickly, probably on day one. We're going to be looking at individual cases. These people are political prisoners. They've been locked up for years.
Everything. We're going to look at individual cases, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm going to be acting very quickly.
Within your first 100 days, first day?
First day.
First day.
Yeah, I'm looking first day.
Issue these pardons.
These people have been there, how long is it? 3 or 4 years?
Okay.
You know, by the way, they've been in there for years, and they're in a filthy, disgusting place that shouldn't even be allowed to be open.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump, in that same interview with Kristen Welker of NBC News, said that Liz Cheney should be going to jail, along with everybody inside of the January 6th committee who decided to rig evidence against him and thousands of Americans who are innocent, peaceful protesters, which is precisely what happened on January 6th. On the anniversary of January 6th, beautiful to hear it.
And Cheney was behind it, and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee.
We're going to...
For what they did,
Yeah.
honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think everybody on anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
Jail, ladies and gentlemen, jail. Maybe this is why some of the most powerful individuals inside of the current Washington, D.C. law enforcement apparatus are running for the effing hills, including Jay Bratt, Jack Smith. Here's Matthew Graves, the U.S. Assistant Attorney who is responsible for the 2,000 different January 6th prosecutions. This evil, evil, sniveling little monster. This man is sitting here bragging in his resignation letter. He's somebody who is, again, on December 30th, 2024, he decided to resign. Again, sprinting for the hills. Hopefully he has a good attorney because he's going to need it. He's sitting here bragging about how many innocent political protesters he locked up during January 6th here in his little letter of resignation. So yeah, this monster deserves to get it, ladies and gentlemen, from an actual justice system run by President Trump. So here we go. Now, making good on his promise, said there in an interview a couple of weeks ago, Donald Trump has announced that, according to Bloomberg, Trump will be pardoning 1,000 individuals convicted of their involvement on January 6, 2021 at the Capitol building. 1,000 individuals. Here we go. Let's jump over to the article. This is music to my ears. Trump weighs January 6 clemency with Congress set to ratify his win. Trump pardon promise for the 2021 mob. This is very interesting. Notice how they're using the word mob here? You want to know why they're saying mob is because the Supreme Court effectively ruled this wasn't actually an insurrection. And so anybody who called an insurrection could technically open themselves up to litigation. Some of the first lawsuits from January 6ers are beginning to drop now, and I expect to see massive, possibly the largest class action lawsuit in history filed against the federal government and the federal prosecutors who went after peaceful, innocent January 6th political protesters. You heard me say it 1 trillion times on this program, but I'll say it again. 99.99% of everybody on January 6th was a peaceful political protester, peacefully protesting via the First Amendment and what we know in the First Amendment, okay? That is our rights as Americans to redress our government. A fraction of a percent of them are either feds or Antifa members or people who did actually riot. And if you hit a cop, you have to go to serve time, right? I'm not in favor of people attacking police officers. So that's it. Everybody else goes free. That's it. But I mean, at this point, they've muddied everything so much. They made it so political and so venomous. It wasn't just like 10 people that they put in prison. It was thousands of Americans they hunted like dogs using the FBI counterterrorism task force resources. Meanwhile, ISIS is sitting here in our country plotting to kill us and is actually legitimately killing us, as we saw on New Year's Day, and nothing. This is the result. This is the trade-off. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, prosecutors, judges, press on White House transition year. Here we go. 4 years after a mob attacked amazing, a mob attacked, really. It used to be an insurrection. Notice how they're changing the language here. Isn't that amazing? Donald Trump's last gasp effort to blah, 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 election loss, evolved into a political and cultural flashpoint with little lasting damage to the president-elect. Isn't that great? The attack faced bipartisan condemnation in the immediate aftermath, but as Trump made 2020 election denialism a core part of his first-term identity, downplaying the severity of the attack and denouncing the prosecutions that followed at the same time, loyalty to propel him to a second term. As Trump prepares to return to power in 2 weeks, expectations are high for him to reward that allegiance and fulfill his promises of swift clemency for the 1,000-plus people convicted for the and hundreds with pending cases. Any early action on J6 pardons would set the tone for how he might wield the presidency to reward loyalists and critics fear, punish opponents. Yeah, see, okay. Oh, because Trump would be the first guy to do that. Darn. This year, January 6th certification has been designated a national security event to be overseen by the U.S. Secret Service. It's the first time the vote counting has ever been given the classification, according to the agency, that allows for vast resources from the federal government and state and local partners. Another risk for Monday's event is heavy weather that is expected to arrive on Washington overnight. Big snowstorm. Donald Trump is set to liberate thousands on his first day in office. We're finally seeing the reporting of this. And this is something, of course, we've covered multiple times. President Trump has said, we believe President Trump. It's also something that we've covered on our show ad nauseum. There's absolutely nobody better, however, than Julie Kelly on this question. Julie Kelly is, of course, the preeminent reporter that has covered these cases and has done so effectively, spent the better part of the last 5 years of her career covering these cases and literally physically showing up to report on them. Julie Kelly making the case for why all January 6th political prisoners must be pardoned. President Trump is clearly listening to us. Now is the time, ladies and gentlemen, for true justice. Here's Julie Kelly on our show making the case. God bless Donald Trump.
So the major talking point out right now over the past 24 hours is that Joe Biden just handed the largest blanket pardon in American history to his criminal, degenerate, sex pest son, who, again, as we have elucidated here, Cash's tweet did a great job actually of doing it, that absolved him of not a specific crimes, but all crimes that he might have committed in an 11-year period. And everyone on the left is saying, hold on, you just gave Donald Trump a roadmap for pardoning January 6th defendants and maybe just pardoning all of them. Now, Mike Davis was on our show yesterday saying, I used to be of the mind that we should go case by case and really look at the details. But now I personally believe Trump should just blanket pardon and just say, nope, it's too much of a rat's nest, all of this, and you've now handed us the weapon with which to do this. What's your thought now on January 6 pardons, given the Hunter Biden news?
Look, I have always been for almost a blanket pardon, with a few exceptions, maybe people with criminal records or really involved in violence. But I have a piece up at my Substack right now, Declassified with Julie Kelly, that says, yes, based on now the Hunter Biden pardon, the broadness of it, covering up for crimes that Hunter Biden obviously committed while his father was president, how can we possibly justify a piecemeal approach to pardoning and offering the same sort of blanket clemency to January 6th defendants? Look, Benny, even the ones who are accused of assaulting police officers. We know that police officers from the DC Metro Capitol Police started the violence that day. They started attacking protesters. Most of the confrontations that we see on the cherry-picked videos leaves that context, important context out. Well, not only was that sort of video left out in the American public, it was also left out in trials. because judges time after time refused to let jurors see how the police misconduct that day that prompted this uprising by protesters who were standing outside a government building on public property on a Wednesday afternoon. They did not have to be attacked by DC Metro and Capitol Police using flashbangs like we just saw the FBI in that clip use, rubber bullets, dousing people with tear gas, shoving women down the stairs, beating women over the head. I mean, these are facts of what happened on January 6th. All of that has been ignored by the media, by the J6 Select Committee, and been buried in these trials. No one in Washington, D.C. got a fair trial in a city that voted 93% for Joe Biden and 93% for Kamala Harris. The entire process from beginning to end was rigged against these defendants. And that is the biggest argument, in addition to this broad pardon for Hunter Biden, why all January 6th defendants should be pardoned, released from prison, and be able to go on and try to rebuild their lives.